yesterday, said the other reason, in addition to demonstrating that he's one of the great artists in the world, Sunday night at the Grammys, is that he understood the platform he was on, and that this platform is to use to unite people, to be able to bring people together with their creativity, with their talents, and to be able to use this moment to do that.
Yeah, and that when you look back at the Kaepernick era in 2017, there certainly could be an argument that Colin Kaepernick would make and the players that kneeled that was a unified moment, right? And yet it was not seen that way. It's seen through a very different prism. It was a danger to the league's bottom line in a way that Bad Bunny is not this year, because there is this perfect alignment in the global aspirations of the National Football League. And I think that really is what has changed. It may sound a little cynical, but in my conversations with people around the league, I really think that's what's driving this. The other part of it is clearly Jay-Z. Jay-Z has the job of picking the halftime performer. Roc Nation was hired by the National Football League in 2019 in the aftermath of the Kaepernick crisis. And there's a lot of faith that Roger Goodell and the owners have in Jay-Z picking the right artist. Now, we've seen Rihanna, we've Kendrick Lamar, Usher in the past few Super Bowl halftime shows. They've all been massive successes. Yes, this is fraught with a little bit more peril in a way that those artists were not. But again, I think the global branding, and you can't deny Bad Bunny's superstardom worldwide, and the National Football League, with everything they want to do internationally, this is a perfect moment for Bad Bunny to be the halftime performer.
Yeah.
So how does that partnership work with Roc Nation?
This is actually kind of interesting because the partnership with Roc Nation actually was a result of this like national political crisis that threatened the league business when the anthem protests were going on. Because as part of that, the NFL owners and the league office met with a group of players, the Players Coalition, and the league presented them with a plan, essentially, which was called their Inspire Change Initiative, which was to dedicate a significant amount of money towards social justice causes. And it's a partnership that still exists today. Something else that came out of that partnership was a partnership with Roc Nation to select the halftime performer and to advise on other performances throughout the year to create music centered around this Inspire Change Initiative and to amplify that cause. So the partnership still exists today. They're in the 6th year now. It started in 2019. And so Jay-Z, you've seen him consistently push the envelope every year and do something bigger, do something more different. He did the first hip hop rap halftime show in 2022 with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent and company. Eminem was part of that as well. And there was a little bit of blowback on that year and criticism to that group as well, I remember. And so he's consistently pushed the envelope. But what you said is right, Jeremy. Goodell has said, he was at a sports conference at USC in October, and he said he doesn't challenge. He says Jay-Z knows I'm not going to challenge him much on his decision. And one thing that's interesting that Goodell keeps repeating, either when talking about Jay-Z or when talking about Bad Bunny, is that he understands the platform. He said that also about Jay-Z. And so I was thinking when I was watching the Grammys, like, wow, like, is Bad Bunny going to say ice out at the Super Bowl halftime show? Is he going to use the Super Bowl halftime show in the way that he used his Grammys platform? And when I keep hearing Goodell say he understands the platform that he's on, it makes me wonder if that is part of, the Super Bowl halftime show, is that you're not going to explicitly say things like that. I'm not sure. I was not able to get very far in the Roc Nation reporting. Roc Nation did not talk to me. I tried to talk to some of the production company that actually does the halftime show, Jesse Collins Entertainment. They did not want to talk. I wasn't able to interview Bad Bunny or anyone in his circle either. And so the question of how will he actually use this Super Bowl halftime show performance, I think, is still an interesting one. And obviously he's going to use it to unify. He's going to have a theme of the world will dance. That was the language that he used in the trailer. And I spoke to some people at Apple Music who said when they met with him very early in the process to say, like, what do you want to get out of this? Because they're the ones who promote this halftime show. Apple Music is the presenting sponsor. And the communications director at Apple Music told me that Bad Bunny directly told them, like, this isn't my halftime show. This is for everyone. This is everyone's halftime show. And I thought that was really an interesting, it's a direct quote from Bad Bunny through Apple Music. to us to learn how he is approaching this. And I think it's been clear from all the promoting and, from how he's, as we've discussed here, like how he's used his platform in the past to bring people together. And as Goodell has said, that's what this is for unity. But going back to something Don said, I wanted to just read a quote from the story that I thought was really interesting from a club executive, comparing, sort of the previous way that they used to handle things and how this Bad Bunny decision appeared to him, at least. And he said last time, well, he was pointing out the difference between Kaepernick, that situation with the anthem protests, and Bad Bunny, which I think is a really good note to make here. They are not apples to apples, right? These are very different situations. Kaepernick and the anthem protests, that was happening every Sunday. That was something that was repeatedly coming up. And he said last time with Kaepernick, that was players and owners and the president. Bad Bunny doesn't affect any of that. It doesn't affect week-to-week games or television coverage. It's just a halftime show. And I don't mean that flippantly, but it's just a halftime show. And so I do think, yes, we can give credit to the league for, silencing, I guess, the outside noise and doubling down on a performer who has very specific views that are really important in this moment. But we have to remember that this, as Don has pointed out and as Vanessa has pointed out, like it aligns clearly with their international business goals, their financial goals this time around. It's not everyone's going to watch the Super Bowl. I mean, Turning Point is counter programming it, but I don't think that show is going to be much of a threat.
Show. That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that show is going to be much of a threat to the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny. So they're not risking viewership here, really. They're not risking any financial dollars in the way that the weekly sight of players kneeling during the anthem, how that ruffled feathers with sponsors and led to declining TV ratings. So it's a really entirely different situation, but it is important to just note the strategy in general.